It's Flat Pick Day here at Mighty Fine Guitars for the Friday Noontime webcast. Come on in, Stevie Coyle here, Lafayette, California, Mighty Fine Guitars with the Friday Noontime webcast. Let me check and make sure you're there. Do my Miss Nancy. Today's guitar, I'll tell you about it while I'm checking in to make sure things are happening properly. Today's guitar is kind of nuts. You don't usually see this. It's a 34-year-old guitar that looks brand new, but it's played in, because I know the guy that owns it. And he has played it in. It's been played a ton. So it's played in, it sounds great, but it looks new, nearly new. One thing has been changed on it. It's the tuners have been changed. And hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself as usual. What's happening here, Coyle? Switch over from there to there. And do we have webcast? Let's see if we have webcast. Yep. It's happening. Good. All right. With all that in mind, again, welcome to the Friday Noontime webcast. It's a J-200 today. Perhaps you've heard of them. Wonderful guitar, Gibson J-200 from 1990. But look at this. It's fantastic. And it sounds great, too. The J-200, I'm preaching to the choir here, I realize. I know a lot of people know what a J-200 is. For those of you that don't, the J-200 came along in 1937 for Gibson. It's a Gibson model, and it's big. It came along in 1937 as the new top of the line to replace the Advanced Jumbo, which had reigned supreme until 1936, for a couple of years before 1936. This one's even bigger, because Ray Whitley, you remember Ray Whitley, came to Gibson and said, build me something bigger. I need 16 and 7/8 inches across the lower bout. So it's a big guitar. Lucky though, the waist is fairly narrow, so you can get yourself around it a little easier than you can with some straight ahead triangular kind of dreadnoughts. Back in the saddle again, out where a friend is a friend, where the longhorn cattle feeds on the lonely Gibson weed. Back in the saddle again, riding the range once more, toting my old for everybody. Longhorn cattle feeds on the lonely Gibson weed. Back in the saddle again. Anyway, that's Ray Whitley. Sorry, Ray. Sorry, man. 1937, he went to Gibson and said, I need a big guitar. They built him one. At the time called the Super Jumbo, SJ-200. It stayed that designation. Oh, and the original ones were made of rosewood back and sides, I should mention. This one, like most J-200s, oh, look at that, that's ridiculous. Most J-200s are maple back and sides. This is maple on the back and sides under this lovely sunburst stuff with a spruce top. This one, as you can tell, the fellow must have taken off his rodeo belt buckle to play this one, because there's no buckle rash, there's no problems back here or on the face. It's great. And it has that sound. It's a big sound in every dimension, but it's got that thing happening that engineers, especially in recording studios, say that Gibsons of this size already do the compression. They don't have to do as much electronic compression. Compression is a sound you know. You don't know you know it. Oh, let me make sure sounds are getting out there. Somebody type in, please, how the sound is today. Is it good? Am I overdriving the mic? Certainly don't want to do that. Well, the lighting's a little severe today, though, isn't it? Oh, well. I don't get much prettier, regardless of the lighting. Hi, David. Hi, Vicky. Victoria. My mistake. Hi, Victoria Day. Go Cowboys. Marilyn. Very good. Denny-eyed. Got some jitter there? You know what? If it's jittering during the live webcast, come back and look at it later, because invariably it goes up with all the pieces in place. Any sort of variances that happen between here and there tend to clear themselves up on the rebroadcast of when the whole file goes up in one piece. So if we're basically watching, hi Dr. Day, hi Tad, very good. All right, and of course, feel free to alert your friends that this is happening live. And later on, if you want to send this along at any point, hit that share button, send it out to like-minded souls, because somebody should be playing this guitar. Talk about a karma guitar. This is a guitar that somebody should be playing. And at the moment, it's not being played by the owner, who's willing to pass it along, get his karma straight. This is the sound you've heard. Oh, and I was talking about compression. That was me that was talking about compression. Now I remember. Compression is a bit hard to describe, but maybe you know it when you hear it. The opening strains of Pinball Wizard, for example, that kind of big but kind of squashed. You can tell it's loud, but it's not got a huge dynamic range. It's all kind of right directed. It's not washy. It's really punchy and focused. That's the sound of a Gibson guitar, and I'm sorry if that kind of overdrove the mic. I'll back up for really loud stuff like that next time around, and I will do something loud in a second. That's the sound you hear at the beginning of Pinball Wizard. That's compression, and that's what this guitar does all by itself. Gibsons are kind of famous for this. A lot of people, myself included, have walked into recording studios with their beautiful rosewood guitars that are huge and washy and cathedral and have lots and lots of reverberation. And the engineer says, great guitar you got there, but would you please play that Gibson we have over in the corner? Because that one records beautifully. As big as this is, as huge as the sound is, it's already got that compression working for it. And I'm not sure why I do this to help illustrate my point, but somehow this helps describe it's so even. One of the reasons it's even, and one of the reasons that Gibson went to maple back and sides after the war, I think, 47, I think, one of the reasons they did that is because the distinction amongst the notes is clearer than it is with rosewood, which again tends to be very reverberant. There's plenty of bass on this thing. Oh yeah, that's rattling my gizzards in my chest. It's fantastic. You've heard this Pinball Wizard. Here Comes the Sun, J-200. Hey, Hey, My, Neil Young. Dylan, All Over Nashville Skyline. Elvis played one of these things. John Lennon. These are famous for a reason. And I'm pleased as punch to have this one in the shop. It was called the J-200 because at the time, in 1937, went for $200. Today, new ones of these go for around $5,400, $5,300, $5,400. This one, because it's in cherry condition and is 34 years old and is played in, you don't have to wait 34 years to get it to sound like this if you bought a new one. This one's going to go for $5. A capo here. There's one. Pretty unmistakable sound, J-200. Originally the Super Jumbo. After the war, they shrunk it down and called it the Jumbo. Built originally for Ray Whitley in 1937, riding the range once more. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, sound of a J200. I'm trying to think of other classic J200 songs. You can hit it as hard as you want, it won't rattle. The setup on this thing is fantastic. It's really set up beautifully. The only thing that's different from stock about this guitar is the tuners got replaced. The tuners gave up on the original one. No surprise. Gibson quality control has been really spotty forever. This is from the Ren Ferguson era in Montana, but this is not a Ren guitar. I don't think. Although, you just sort of never can tell. He did most of the custom work there, and his name is legendary. They're sort of like Lloyd Loar. He's the Lloyd Loar of the 90s. This is from the early part of his era. And maybe just because he was around there cracking the whip, or just by reputation cracking the whip, this one turned out really, really good, even though it's not signed by Ren or out of a custom shop. Let me see if there are comments and questions. Here we go. Oh, that's a bad idea. Putting your pick in your mouth, you swallow that thing, suck it up by accident, it's going to be bad. Don't do that, Coyle. Hiya, Greg. Hi, Jill. Hi, Jimmy. John. John and Jim. Go Broncos. Right on. Santa Clara men. Go Jesuits. Rusty Knox is watching. Nancy Paul. John Wittenberg. Gonna come in and check it out. John, it's pretty nuts. Hi, Christian. Up there in Yosemite. Nice to see you. Hi, Bob Steiner. John Reynolds. There you are. Kevin Harris. Mark Moreland. Very good. Nice to see all you folks. Well, I'll play it a bit more. And it's not to say you have to do flat picking on a guitar like this. Excuse me. Reverend Gary Davis played a J200. He did okay finger picking it, I think. Yeah, there's a thumb pick. There we go. Maple-backed and sided guitars tend to have a reputation for being harsh or shrill. It's projection. A well-built one that turned out successfully, and let's face it, they're wooden boxes, some cut out of the same slabs of wood. You know, two right in a row out of the same slabs of wood are going to sound different. There's huge variability, but maple can have this kind of sound, which instead of being shrill or piercing or harsh, is just punchy. Like I was saying, Gibson has always been pretty spotty on quality control. You just never know. But the good ones are really good. If you have any comments or questions in particular, pop them in down below. Comments as well. But I'll get to questions later so as not to eat up time here during your lunch hour and mine too. Boy, that's muscle memory. I don't know where that came from. Why can I remember that? But I can't remember why I walked into the kitchen. guess I'll never know. Or I'll forget. And this is one of those ones where, as tempted as you are to hug it close to your body, like with most guitars, here's a little hint from your Uncle Stevie to you, is free up the back of your guitar. It's vibrating too. So if you hold it against you, you're going to kind of squash it. It's sort of the same reason some people put armrests on their guitars, is to keep your arm off of this big piece of wood that's vibrating down here. Same thing, that's tougher to do and it's easier to do if you just kind of lean the guitar out from your body a little bit. Kick it out on your leg a little bit if you're sitting down. If you're standing up, you're standing up. And it's resting against you. Oh, Emmylou Harris, for crying out loud. Not to say that tiny people can't play giant guitars. She does. She stands up to play. And therein lies the difference. But for those of us that are sitters, pronunciation, Coyle, sitting down with a really big guitar can be a little tricky. And especially this, with this giant, which is, of course, to say it's such a big guitar, 16 7/8 inches across the lower bout. It comes with its own custom case, original to the time as well. That one with the pink fuzz on the inside and the drape that lays over the top there. Not unlike a coffin in some respects. Except pink. But fuzzy on the inside and comfortable for the guitar. Just like that for 2.5 minutes, and you got a hit. Music is easy. It's easy to make $1 million playing music. Just play 4 chords over and over for 2.5 minutes, and write a song, a western. Riding the range once more, toting my old 44, where the longhorn cattle feed, long-hard cattle feed on the lonely Gibson weed, back in the saddle again. Fantastic guitar. Gibson J-200, 1990, $5,000, absolutely lovely cherry guitar in fantastic shape, plays great, is set up great. Come and get it. Somebody come and get it. Like so many guitars here at Mighty Fine Guitars, this guitar needs to be played. It should be out in the world, and that's why most of these guitars are here. A lot of people bring guitars in for precisely this reason. For XYZ reason, this guitar is not getting played, and somebody should play it. Let's take it to Mighty Fine Guitars and see if we can get it in somebody's arms. There it is. That's kind of the story of Mighty Fine Guitars. For 90% of the guitars in here, that's the story behind it. The other 10% are luthiers, modern luthiers, bringing in brand new guitars. And last week or two, we had a John Datlin guitar come in that was absolutely fantastic. We've got Michael Propsom here. We've got John DeLapp represented here. New guitars from these folks. Sparky Kramer. All kinds of wonderful builders out there. As well as classics like the Gibson J-200. This one is 34 years old, plays like a dream. Tout, tout, tout. I'm done touting. Thanks for tuning in. Comments and questions down below. I'll get to them pronto. If you feel like sending this over to somebody here on Facebook, feel free to share it. But I'll pop this over to the Mighty Fine Guitars account as well on Facebook, and send it up to Instagram, and send it up to YouTube. And you can find all that stuff there. So down the road, everybody. No telling what's coming in next week, but stay tuned. Well, don't stay tuned, but tune in again next week for the Friday Noontime webcast from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Thanks all. Stevie Coyle, signing off. Riding the range once